A skeleton, caught off guard as glowing tendrils lash out, wonders what is happening and vows to escape no matter what. A young monk with a staff steps forward and calmly urges the stunned skeletal demon to let go of its burdens and embrace Buddhism. The bald monk calmly tells the skeleton warrior he means no harm, urging him to relax while the skeleton demands to know what he is. Suddenly, rapid glowing cross-shaped strikes tear through the swarm of skeletons as a powerful attacker unleashes a determined assault. A fiery blade cuts through the smoky air, scattering leaves as the unseen attacker presses the assault. Lee strikes the skeleton with glowing energy, while the monk-like figure calmly explains that the attack is meant only to calm the donor down. The cheerful blue-gray-skinned man urges the anxious skeleton to consider converting, promising plenty of benefits if he agrees, and pleads for an answer. A voice demands to know what kind of dreadful place this is. Sunlight streams through the garden as a gentle man with dark hair waters the vibrant flowers, moving with quiet contentment. A gentle man with dark hair strolls through tall grass, humming softly as the sky stretches wide and blue above him. He glances sharply at the shifting mound, wondering what might be hiding beneath the grass. A tortoise emerges from the grass, turning its head, as an unseen voice recognizes it with a hint of affection. The gentle man waters his garden and says he is pleased by how much stronger the large turtle has become in just 2 weeks. Lee realized the fish stall owner must have gifted him a rare species. The young woman runs through the garden gate, thinking she should properly thank the fishman for his help. A turtle glides calmly through clear water, passing water lilies as a golden fish drifts nearby among the swaying plants. A man with a wide-brimmed hat leans in, reaching for the glowing stones nestled in his baskets. Lee cheerfully greets the fish seller and praises the tortoise he received before asking to buy a fish. The scene shifts to a quiet, sunlit market stall with 2 large wooden tubs of clear water, where fresh fish swim around floating lily pads. As the sale ends, the vendor calls after the departing customer, and Master Lee thanks him on his way out, securing his fresh supply of fish. Coins scatter high as crows wheel across the open sky, drifting past broken branches below. Then crows sweep over the quiet courtyard, dropping golden tokens that glint as they fall through the still air. Suddenly, an unseen voice ordered everyone to move aside as the sky darkened with heavy, ominous clouds. A young man with dark hair shielded his fish from the jostling crowd, muttering that people should be careful and wondering why the street was so busy today. Lee held up the paper money for everyone to see, quietly asking if anyone recognized what he was showing. 2 men raised their trumpets and played with full force, while 3 women in white robes stood quietly beneath the shifting clouds. One woman in white told her companion that Madame was known for her kindness, and said it was a shame that the child was gone. Lee, a young man with dark hair, learned from villagers that Madame had died suddenly during childbirth and might return as a restless spirit. Lee, a young man with dark hair, learned from villagers that Madame had died suddenly during childbirth and might return as a restless spirit. Lee shouted at Blackie, telling the dog to stop barking so loudly in such a tense moment. Lee shouted at Blackie, telling the dog to stop barking so loudly in such a tense moment. Blackie barked loudly, and Lee reacted in shock and asked if someone meant the woman they were just discussing. Lee yelled for them to stop, insisting Madame was still alive, and the stunned workers and onlookers demanded to know how he could be sure. Lee explained that his dog told him, but the angry man shouted back, demanding to know if he was being mocked. A respectful older man with a hat covered his face and warned Master Lee not to disrespect the family's funeral. The surprised man called out, searching for the missing person, as Lee calmly checked the unconscious woman and announced it was feigned death. Lee insisted that Madame was only in a fake death state and had not truly passed away. Lee faced the hostile crowd and insisted he could save Madame, while the villagers shouted threats and warned him to stay away from her body. The worried husband urgently asked if Lee was joking and whether his wife could truly be saved. Lee declared firmly that he wanted a chance to try. Lee, a quiet and thoughtful man, simply closed his eyes and sat in silent contemplation. Crows circled beneath the bleak sky, as doubtful voices questioned Lei's resolve to save someone already gone. A worried bystander in the crowd said Master Li was acting rashly and might get into serious trouble for disrespecting his wife's corpse. On a cold stone platform, a collection of ancient surgical tools waited in perfect, silent order. Li pulled on surgical gloves as a radiant light shimmered around his steady hands. Someone asked Li where all these things had come from. The younger woman asked the midwife if she recognized the objects, and the midwife replied that they had come from his pocket. Someone wondered aloud if there was something in the pocket as inquisitive hands reached in, searching for whatever might be hidden inside. Li, a curious and bewildered medical professional, lifted the surgical lamp as the group of observers questioned how something so large could fit in a pocket. In his medical attire, Li reflected that he was grateful for the system's lessons and would forgive it for now. Li focused intently on the operation as the supporters urged everyone to trust him and hoped he could save Madam and young Master. A bloodied young man with long hair stared ahead in shock, wondering if he had just made a mistake he could never undo. Someone in the tense birthing room shouted for the midwife's help, while she nervously questioned if they truly meant her. Li calmly announced he would perform a cesarean section and asked the nervous older woman to help cut the umbilical cord. A robotic hand shot up to block a bloody punch, while an older woman asked if the child had really survived. Li told the hopeful caretaker to hold the infant steady, explaining that the child needed to be jolted awake as he, the glowing needle. Li, focused and precise, flicked the needle toward the bald man lying motionless, as a warning reminded viewers not to attempt such acts. A baby was seized by the scalp and struggled, while he cried out that he could hardly breathe and begged for relief. The grateful father clutched his baby and said through tears that his son was alive, thanking Master Li again and again. The villagers gathered around as Li, now wearing a face mask, raised his hand modestly while they exclaimed how incredible he was. Li, alert and masked, spun toward two rooftop figures and demanded to know what they were doing while his back was turned. The two shocked nurses argued that the madam should not be left exposed, but Li shouted that she was still alive. A woman with stitches on her side breathed in weakly as three chefs exclaimed in disbelief that the madam had truly come back to life. Li instructed the servants to take their madam back to rest and warned them not to repeat their mistakes. Villagers crowded around Li and praised him, while he replied modestly that they were exaggerating his actions. An analytical saintess sipped her tea while remarking that resurrecting the dead should be impossible without rare elixirs and extraordinary fate. A woman with intricate sleeve designs leaned forward, demanding to know the true identity of a certain man. A hand gripped a small cup as a man with dark hair quietly recalled the threats and requests for help made 1 month earlier. A confident woman with dark hair told the red-haired woman she had made a discovery after arriving. The dark-haired woman pressed further, suggesting the red-haired woman and her father had never schemed and hinting she had guessed who their mysterious helper was. The young woman with red hair whispered in desperation that she could not accept what was happening. A smug man taunted the frustrated woman, and she shouted that she already knew about his secret and did not like him at all. Then a young woman with long red hair sprinted away from the old building, urgency driving every step. The confused woman glanced at the chair and quietly questioned what she was supposed to do next. A suspicious man leaned forward and asked if everyone was still discussing the hidden expert. A close-up revealed a curious man with a wide grin as he wondered what kind of person the stranger truly was. Li, a grateful and modest hero, thought was being overly generous by giving him so much food after the rescue. Li laughed to himself, insisting he did not help Madam for praise, while the skeptical dog commented that he was clearly enjoying the attention. A young woman, urgent in her tone, called out to Li as he carried plants and startled him with her sudden voice. An elderly woman holds a quiet girl's hand as someone off-panel recognizes them and urgently calls out for Master Li. A woman carrying groceries stopped in shock as the older woman pleaded desperately for someone to save Nan Nan and called out for Aunt. A concerned young woman explained that Nan Nan's body had returned after the kidnapping, but her soul was still missing. A tearful young girl looked up and begged Master Lei to save Nan Nan, insisting he could even bring back the dead. Li looked down, his voice uncertain as he questioned if the soul truly had not returned. A girl with long silver hair shielded part of her face, quietly admitting that something felt unfamiliar. Li quickly explained post-traumatic stress disorder, and the older woman hesitantly asked what he meant. Li lowered his gaze and quietly said he was sorry to Aunt. The elderly woman looked away and quietly confessed she did not know why she could not save Nan Nan. Tears streamed down Li's face as he softly began to share the reason behind his pain. A curious older woman blinked in surprise, asking what clinical psychology meant. Li promised the elders he would share the solution as soon as he found it and apologized for any inconvenience. A caring older woman wrapped her arms around a young girl and quietly told her it was time to head home together. Li looked away, telling Aunt he was sorry but could not help them. Li lowered his gaze, confessing softly that he still felt useless and wished he could do more for everyone. Li, carrying a basket of vegetables, wondered whether Lady and the other immortal cultivators might know a better solution than his own. A nervous silhouette with glowing eyes peeks out from behind the wall, watching the others with barely contained anxiety. The shadowed figure with glowing eyes muttered that the tracking was good for now and vowed to uncover the secret. A young man with dark hair stepped gently onto the earth, his foot landing near delicate white flowers. Then footsteps pounded across the grass, scattering petals in their wake. Li smiled at the key in his hand, unaware that a hidden figure watched him from the forest. A quiet moment settles over the old gate as a voice in the distance calls out, saying they have returned to Blackie. A focused and strategic immortal cultivator spotted the base camp, introduced herself as, and announced her connection to the Immortal Pavilion. A confident woman with magical blue flames searched the sunlit forest, then said she had found someone impressive just as three figures suddenly flew toward her. Three elders stand together beneath the fading sun, and each introduces themselves as Senior Sister Luo Xiang, Suzerain, and Senior. Li asked why she was here, while the older woman warmly greeted Senior Sister after a long absence. A respectful young woman greeted Suzerain and Senior, politely telling them she thought they were being far too modest. Li wondered aloud why a powerful sect leader had come to this remote mountain. A wise elderly man warned the group that his master believed the sword demon had already dealt with the 10,000 sword immortal sect. An older man with white hair asked Li if his master boss was still in good health, sounding unexpectedly familiar. An elderly man with long white hair laughed triumphantly as he told everyone that, thanks to an expert's help, he had finally broken through. Li questioned the old man, who happily explained that the expert's help had saved them from the sword demon. Then one figure helped the dynasty escape danger, rescued the sword sect, guided to a breakthrough, and saved Madam's life. A quiet courtyard stretched beyond a traditional gate, and someone wondered whether a single person was responsible for everything that had happened. A woman with long dark hair paused outside the temple door, quietly wondering what kind of person he might be. The worried woman glanced upward and wondered if anyone like that truly existed. A distressed woman with long dark hair shouted at Qing, urging her to calm down. The worried woman bit her finger, thinking aloud that Immortal Pavilion must not fall behind the other powerful sects she had heard about. An elderly man with a stern air told the anxious group they must hurry to visit the expert and reminded Luo Xiang not to be disrespectful. A young woman with shimmering blue hair quietly agreed with her father that they should apologize to the benefactor if he was upset. Li opened the door with a bright smile as Lady called out, asking if he was home and greeting him warmly. A determined young woman energetically introduced her parents to Master Lei, insisting that she was part of the family too. A group of 4 women approached a silent, reserved woman near a building, as one of them politely asked her about her identity. A confident young woman with long black hair pointed to herself and said her name was, explaining she was a good friend of Luo Xiang. If you'd like to see your favorite titles retold, leave a comment and I'll be sure to pick some of them up from time to time. Also, let me know which video format you like more, long videos or short ones. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again soon.